So the first one I'm going to do is talking about getting stuck. So this is true for a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, and actually, to be honest, people in their career as well. So what I'm going to do is talk about ways to make improvements and actually achieve your goals, whatever those goals are. And actually, there are tricks and hacks to it. So getting stuck and how not to. So what's always quite funny is that we all have aims, goals, and ambitions. This week we've obviously had the Olympics, obviously next week as well, and we've got the Paralympics. But almost, don't get me wrong, I watch the Olympics and you dream of, could I do that? Obviously not now, I'm old, but it's almost, it's the idea that we all have hopes, dreams, and ambitions. But there won't be a single Olympic athlete, unless there's a sheer fluke out there, that just decides to do something and then becomes world class at it. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes tears, it takes early mornings, it takes sacrifice. But actually we all have aims, goals and ambitions. That is true in business and career. I've been there as well, that when a lot of people feel stuck in their jobs, so that they feel that they're halfway up the ladder and they're currently here, and actually they're trying to figure out how do they make the next jump up to, it could be to director, or it could be a completely different career change or whichever. And what do they do? So one of the things that they could do is go on a course like the Roadmap to learn more extra skills. And again, that would be like a big jump to do. But also, I think the mistake a lot of people make, and this is especially true with entrepreneurs, and I've had different calls in the past 2 weeks with people that do this, is that the trick is not to try and make massive jumps at one time. So it's the classic kind of meme. If you've got your ladder, don't actually try and do massive steps to progress your business or career. Just take tiny, tiny little ones. I still remember, ironically, that when, it was only just over a year ago, I used to, actually, I didn't do these from my bedroom, but I did live stream from my spare bedroom at home. And I remember I always used to walk into town with my wife on a Saturday, and I'd think, I'd love to have an office, just an office where I could actually set up lights and set up stuff and try and create something that hopefully now has rolled into this. And I still have ambitions for what I want to do next. But the trick is, it's to do just one tiny little thing. So for instance, the first one, because prior to this, I actually had an office from one of my clients that very kindly gave me it for free as part of my retainer that I have with them. But what was really important is that took me from my home to my office. So it started to make the dream real. But that first tiny little step was just to ask. And then actually from that, I thought, well, actually, how do I make this good? So I'm going to need a camera. I'm going to need some lights, but actually, because of stuff that I've done in the past, I know how to use this. But the point is, whenever you have, you have really big, ambitious goals, the trick really is to make tiny, tiny little steps to make improvement. And the truth is, if you're committed to it and you work hard at it, you often, like for instance, yesterday, so I'm working on the rebrand or the update to the Roadmap, which is going to launch in September, October kind of time. Anyone on the course who's paid, or one of our regulars like Denise, hi Nikki, we'll get a free copy, and that's definitely kind of going to happen. But for instance, one of the guys that I'm going to use his photos. It's actually someone I've known for quite a long time. Yesterday we signed the agreement to do with the licensing for me to use his stuff for the course. And just the sake of signing a piece of paper and sending it back is another little jump on the ladder that, yes, I'm trying to build a global brand that hopefully will reach certain kind of levels, but it's done each live stream at a time, every classroom session, every time something fails. So for instance, if Jonathan joins later, Jonathan Parks, last week I had some small issues to do with the HDMI cable that actually runs between the camera and the iMac, and it started to glitch out. So even just over the weekend, I swapped them out for a different cable. But it's all these little tiny improvements. It's just launching it over time. That, yes, I have the massive audacious goal here. That's my trophy. That I want to achieve something quite ambitious, but I do it one day at a time, and I think you should too. I think a lot of people, when they have a business that they want to launch, and we talk about websites, so I talk about websites a lot with different people, the desire always is that they want to basically take what they've got and they want it to be perfect as soon as it's live. So they almost want it to be here. They're currently here. And it's almost because of the worry of the jump and the amount of work that they have to do, they end up getting stuck and they can't do it. So one of the chats that I had with someone last week was actually, if you're currently here, yes, you have ambitions to reach the top, but just launch it, just get it live. And that's one great step. Then yes, if you want to improve the wording just to make it that little bit better, that can be another one. And again, you can have 1,000 different steps, but I guarantee the way to actually achieve your goal is through lots and lots of tiny little steps. That it doesn't have to change the world. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but actually this is the way to do it. And almost, I think sometimes people are too hard on themselves, that they try and achieve too much too soon, or they worry that why is progress taking longer than it should. So on progress taking longer than it should, often that's when people don't actually allocate time to actually do their stuff, so they're busy working away. Or for me, when I do my client work, because that's what pays my bills and pays for all of this, I always allocate the equivalent of a day a week, which is 8 hours plus weekends, to do roadmap stuff, which means that regardless of whatever happens, every week I'm just making a tiny little bit of progress. And it could be, what did I do? On Sunday, I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was the Quentin Tarantino film. It wasn't very good. So what I did, I was making graphs for the new version of the textbook whilst I was watching it. But it's all these tiny little bits of progress is what kind of counts. And for you, for your personal development, it could be every time you read a book, or to be honest, even every time you read a page. For me, I've also been trying to work on my fitness quite a lot because I had put on some weight over COVID. And again, for where I'm trying to aim for, I need to be in shape. And there's a lot of things that, rightly or wrongly, I'm trying to achieve. So actually, I don't judge myself on if I've lost 2 stone. I judge myself on if I go for that run, or if I'm strong enough to not go to McDonald's, which is one of my big kind of vices. And again, it's how you kind of just win these battles one step at a time. And in the course, we call these lead actions, and it's knowing the things that if you do, that will help you achieve your goal in time, and don't try and do it all at once. So hopefully that's useful. If you've got any questions, please kind of reach out. And then likewise, if you've got any aims and goals and things that you're trying to achieve, I'd love to know what they are. Please kind of drop them in the chat. And again, the way to achieve them is through lots of tiny little steps, not necessarily one big one, although the big ones can come, but actually, same as the people at the Olympics, often it takes all the groundwork, all the training sessions, all the studying sessions that really kind of help you make that next step.